Hi there. I want to share my experience on a topic I have titled Getting the Best Out of Your Manager or Your Supervisor. Getting the best out of your manager or supervisor. Most managers are not only trying their best to be effective, they also believe they are doing such a good job at it. And that's the truth. If you walked around and polled every manager in your own company, the vast majority will consider their performance to be above average. Yes, they will. How then do we seem to be surrounded with incompetent managers or supervisors or bosses all over the place? How come? How come? In 1968, Dr. Lawrence J. Peter and Raymond Hall developed what is called the Peter Principle. The Peter Principle. Now, the Peter Principle is a satire in which everyone in an organization continues to be promoted until they reach their level of incompetence. Yes, they get promoted to a level of incompetence. According to them, eventually, given enough time and promotions, every position in a company contains someone who can't do the job because they've been promoted to a level of incompetence. Another variant suggests that people aren't necessarily promoted to their level of incompetence, but to a level that overwhelms their abilities and creates enough anxiety that they lose all ambition and dreams of further success. In my humble opinion, the bigger problem is simply that managers are human beings after all. And as humans, they're equipped with both strengths and weaknesses. We all are. Different people have different views on what makes a good manager. And for managers, this often aligns with their strengths and the reasons they were promoted in the first place. A manager who excels in technical reviews, for example, will focus his or her behaviors around that strength. Consequently, he or she will have biases of measuring success only towards this trait. The fact that he or she is a poor communicator or doesn't get along well with other people will not be considered so important in that manager's view. Managers usually end up projecting their strengths while ignoring the areas of their weaknesses. We all do that. The issue, therefore, isn't that the majority of managers are incompetent and overwhelmed, although some certainly are incompetent. Don't get me wrong. Some are incompetent. The challenge is that they are good enough at a couple of things that their failures and weaknesses are overlooked. So their strengths overshadow their weaknesses. And while this issue is easier to handle than outright incompetence, it is still a concern for the affected employees. After all, they continue to be saddled with managers that are blind to their shortcomings. We all have such bosses at one time or the other. So everyone needs to choose. Do you let your manager's weaknesses limit your own career growth? Or do you do something about it? Do you accept it, change it, or leave it? In any situation in life, you only have three options. You always have three options in most situations in life. 1, you can change it. 2, you can accept it. 3, or you can leave it the way it is. What is not a good option is, if you are stuck with an incompetent boss or manager, is to sit around and wishing things will just change without you changing it, wishing you would leave it but not leaving it and not accepting it. It's that state of inaction, that failure in your part to choose any of the options that is responsible for most of our misery. Take responsibility, which by the way simply means you have the ability to respond. Yes, responsibility simply means ability to respond. So you have the ability to respond responsibly to the situation if you have an incompetent boss or supervisor or manager. 1, again, you can change it, you can accept it, or you can leave it. Sadly, most people choose to accept it. They wait around and hope that the company, management, executive will eventually step in to address the issue for them. No, all the while they are complaining to whoever is willing to listen, and nothing ever changes. But there's many ways employees can take greater responsibility in their career and influence a poor managerial situation or supervisor. Even small actions can have a drastic improvement. The bottom line is that you have to make a choice and then commit to your choice. Remember that supposedly incompetent bosses are human, which is something that sometimes intelligent subordinates ignore to appreciate. Because the boss is human. He or she also has strengths but also has limitations. So what you want to do to help your boss is to ask, what can my boss do really well? What has he or she done really well? What does he or she need to know to use their strengths better? Or perhaps most important question is, what can I do to help my boss with some of their perceived weaknesses so that they can be better bosses for my good and their good? Whatever we choose to do, though, my experience shows that as long as we continue to promote people, will gain the benefits of their strength over time, as well as the liabilities of their limitations. That's a fact. That's a fact. The choice then is whether you want to become a victim of a struggling manager, or you want to take responsibility as a subordinate to positively influence the situation. Again, accept it, change it, or leave it. Many of these issues are manageable, and I can help you navigate these waters where you have that challenge with an incompetent boss or supervisor or manager. My name is Olusoji Oyawe, and I seek to enhance the capacity of anyone that I come across. Please let me know in the comment section which part of this clip resonates with you. Share your own experience to enhance the discussion, or simply share your perspective to enrich the discussion again. And if you require my services, you can contact me through my email that is scrolling here on the screen, info@sojioyawe.com, 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 or WhatsApp chat only, +234 704 366 7607, +234 704 366 7607. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you and bye-bye.